everybody. I hope you can hear us, because apparently our sound disappeared. We could hear each other, so we were chatting happily. But yeah, so I guess maybe Natasha, if you just if you can just check the stream, just see how that is going, that would be incredible.
Okay, live.
That is fantastic. Amazing. Just you know, you test it out, you try it out many times, and then simply
put the sound on the other machine.
It's fantastic.
Yes, I can hear it.
Amazing. Okay, we seem to be there again. So working again. Thank you, Mark.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. You're our early warning system, because frankly, if we can hear each other, we're not really going to know whether. And obviously, we've got the site running in the background, but we don't normally have the sound. So thanks very much, Mark, for pointing that out. That would have been a little bit tragic if we'd yeah. It's I'm in IT. This is always I always feel terribly ashamed when anything goes wrong, because yeah, I feel like it should all be good, but I don't know. What can you say? It's normally working perfectly. Sound, says Alistair. Is there a problem, Alistair? Let me just.
I'm going to try it again.
Sound. Oh yeah, it says sound. Yeah, that's good. I think Alistair meant that there is sound. Hooray! Hooray. That's good. Okay. Well, you know, just let us know. I mean, we can just restart the stream very, very easily. It's very quick. So you know, if something goes wrong, but I don't think it's our end. I think we've done it all right.
Good. Yes, it's all working, and the games are about to start.
So let's have a look. We will. I'm going to obviously we're going to concentrate on. Some of the boards. Chess.com is asking me, am I still there? I certainly am, and we'll be absolutely ready when the game starts. I was just saying that it was 45 minutes plus 15. So yeah, you know, I mean, that's going to be it's a good time control, and gives us plenty of time to look at all the games. So how many players are there in total? It's not that big a field.
20 players in total. We'll have 9 boards today, because I think it was Hannah is taking a bye, and so yeah, Hannah's taking a bye. She is taking a half-point bye, so Julie gets a 1-point bye, and the other 9 boards are playing.
I'm glad you think that, Mark. Mark said there are some people who are better silent, but that certainly doesn't apply to either of you. Oh. Ah, dear me. So, no, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look. Have the game started yet? They have indeed. And Raylin Posadas against Ketevan Arakhamia Grant. And one knight f3 is on the board. Now, I would expect, all from my knowledge of Ketevan from the old days.
Your screen.
Ah, the good old screen sharing, Floy. It's all happening. There we are. In we go, and spotlight it.
Very good.
And you should now be seeing my screen and 2 tiny people.
Yes.
So Ketevan, certainly in the old days, she played a lot of King's Indians. I remember I lost her in a King's Indian in about 1992, I think. Looks like she still is playing the King's Indian, indeed. So Raylin playing the very solid G3 system, which I find quite a tricky system to play. I've never actually looked at it very much at all. I actually had to play it with Terry Chapman in the Pro Biz Championship recently. And I have to say, we played it once with black and once with white, and I was struggling like crazy. I really did not know where to put my pieces properly. And I think Terry was... he's played these lines, I think, all of his life, and I think he was a little bit distressed at what I was doing to his pieces. That was it's supposed to be the Grandmaster who knows the openings, you know, and playing them properly, and I was doing terrible things. So, but if you can play it right, it's a very it's quite a difficult system for black to deal with, to really generate.
Gary Chapman, of course, he played a match against Garry Kasparov, who also has been known to. He does well against the King's Indian, doesn't he? Or he plays the King's Indian.
Indeed.
Yeah. The match Terry played against Garry Kasparov, though, was a handicap. and so I think Terry started with an extra pawn each time, and he did get at least one win in that match.
Yes, that was. I mean, we interviewed Terry for our book Chess for Life, and yeah, he recounted how intense Gary was, even under odds conditions. Gary desperately did not want to lose a game, and he was completely shocked that Terry had managed to beat him. It's an amazing. Terry said it was an amazing experience, and actually, Terry.
Don't mind the schedule. The schedule is so it's the women's play at 1 o'clock each day, and the open play at 7 o'clock each day. So we've got, I think, 9 rounds, and so we'll be doing one a day. We'll cover the open every single day, and the women's I can't remember, it's probably like 6 out of the 9, and then we're also going to look at some of the seniors and some of the juniors as well. So we'll be doing basically 2 sessions a day, and so yeah, it's women's today, I think seniors tomorrow, and women's the next day, and then we have a little break for Christmas, and then resume between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of chess coming along, and yeah, we're going to try and get just a feel of the whole festival, really, because there really is. Obviously the main focus is the women's championship and the championship as well, the Open Championship. But there's lots of good chess going along, and we'll try and get as much as possible. So Ketevan here has played Knight C6, which is one of the major lines. The other idea that the black, well, there's quite a few lines like this. Let me just get my chess.com commands out, and I'll bring up an analysis board just to get into the opening. So black has got a lot of possibilities here. So knight bd7 is a very common idea. And then after knight c3, you play e5. And this has been played a lot in big world championships, especially in the 50s and 60s when Botvinnik was taking on Smyslov and Tal and these sort of players. And black can play in many different ways. One very common idea is to go c6, and then black goes takes on d4. For example, this is a very common line: e takes d4, knight takes d4, rook e8, rook e1, and a5, and the knight comes to c5. And there's very typical King's Indian play here. White's very, very solid. The bishop on g2 is protecting this pawn on e4. So black doesn't, and also this bishop on this diagonal really stops d5 from black. So it's clamping down on that. The one drawback to white's position is that, well, this square is a little bit sensitive, and also this pawn is unprotected. So a black knight coming to e5 can sometimes cause quite a bit of damage. And d3 is also a little bit sensitive because the bishop's on g2 and the pawns are on e4 and c4. So, black can put a knight on c5, a knight on e5, and come into d3. I think, if you master these positions well as white, then you can be very, very effective. If you don't know them too well, like me, then you can start worrying about all sorts of things that could happen to you tactically. Keith Arthur.
And when you played your game with Ketty, what opening was that? Was that similar to this?
I believe that was a King's Indian. I was white, and that was a Samish.
Ah, yes.
It was a very long time ago, but she played quite beautifully, and I lost quite badly in that system, actually, which I know very, very well. So I wasn't. I think 1992. I wasn't a GM yet. I think I was still an IM, but so I think we were around the both around 2500 at the time. I think.
Yeah. Was she a GM at that stage?
I can't remember. It is a long time ago, but yeah. I remember the game though, and the feeling, because I was very upset to lose as white in one of my favorite openings, and I really got destroyed. So yeah, these traumas, they never quite leave you, do they? Yeah, knight c6 is the main line. White normally plays knight c3. Now black's got a couple of plans. Bishop f5 is one idea. just developing the bishop and keeping the options flexible. Is black going to play e5 or even maybe a c5 later? Black can play e5 immediately, which is also quite reasonable. This does give white the opportunity to play a solid line like this, for example, which it's not going to be fantastic, but it's going to be a little edge for white. And the most aggressive line is to play a6. And I think probably a couple of hundred, no, not a couple of hundred, but maybe 50 or 60 games have been played between Keith Arkle and Mark Hebben in this line, because they had a huge theoretical debate in this line. For
is this the one where they had their match with
indeed,
the
indeed
exchange sacrifice? And I had to. I must have told you the story about this, where I had to persuade Mark not to play this exchange sacrifice because it was so bad. He was staying at my house because match was played in London, and. Yeah, and he was just playing it again and again and kept getting these terrible positions. But eventually, I persuaded him to not play the exchange sacrifice, and then he won.
It's now Rosalind's played a slightly unusual move here, which actually I've never seen before in this position, and that's to play b2 to b3. So not putting the knight on c3, but just playing b2 to b3 to allow the bishop to come to b2. That's an interesting idea, actually. Now I'm just wondering. I'm wondering actually, what does black normally do against this? E5 looks interesting, and that is the main move. But Ketevan is actually continuing with the second most popular move. So probably this is just again my lack of theory being reflected here. And Ketevan has played a6. Just playing for this for one of the plans, which is to play b5. Just in general, I'm slightly I'm interested in this one because normally you would do the following. Let me just show you. So knight c3 a6, and well, black's aiming to play rook to b8 and then b5. And I suppose part of the attraction is that the knight is on c3 and blocking this c file. So when you play b5, if white goes c takes b5, a takes b5, white can't exploit the c file immediately because the knight's in the way. So I wonder whether, whether this plan with a6 is as effective against b3, because white could play the knight to d2. So I could play, for example, bishop b2. Let's say rook b8 to play b5 and go knight bd2. And after b5, I could play rook c1. And I've got my rook straight away on the c file, and this knight's on d2 rather than c3. So might be a little bit more effective for white. Quite interested to see how that happens there. I'm looking at the move b3, a6. I'm seeing quite a few 2500s with white, including the Ukrainian player. I think I've got that right. Oleg Romanishin, who's a big expert on the G3 King's Indians, and well, he's played b3 as well. So that's a pretty serious move, must be. Game changer. Yeah. That's, it's true, actually. Thanks, Mark, for pointing it out. But Game Changer, just a shameless plug here, is the New in Chess Book of the Week at the moment. So a huge production on it if you want to get it. Still in time for Christmas. Well, if you buy it digitally anyway. And well, a perfect book for cold winter conditions, I would think. So let's have a look.
We'll look at board 2.
We definitely will have a look at board 2. Always get carried away with the opening phase somehow. So that's Madeline 2 against the Curious Parrot.
Yes. And actually that, I thought she must have a daughter called Madeline or something like that. You know, this name, Madeline, and I thought it was Madeline. But what she told me during the online Olympiad was that it actually isn't Madeline, it's Mad Alien. So it's Mad Alien is Dagne.
Okay, now what opening have we had here? We've had a Rai Lopez, almost a main line in actual fact. Castles h3. So h3 is a little subtlety. It's the anti-martial. So with castles, black is giving giving ourselves the chance to play a marshal. Let me just bring up the old analysis diagram there. So after castles, you give yourself a chance of playing c3, d5, which is a marshal. Very much analysed, a big favourite of Dr. John Nunn back in the day. He was really the person who did a huge amount of analysis on it and really turned it into.
Hi, Anna. Thank you very much.
Anna, hi. Fantastic. Lovely to have you in the chat. Fantastic. And I've seen lots of little clips of your Christmas shows, by the way. Really, really nice. So great stuff. Thank you.
Fantastic stream.
That's right. So yeah, so c3 d5 is the marshal, and I said Dr. John Nunn, huge amount of work. Nowadays, more or less thought to be a draw. I would say, if for a well-prepared player. h3 is a little bit sort of a little improvement in these martial games. You can actually play it, but the big point about it is that without the pawn on c3, you also get the possibility to play knight c3. So that's so actually after knight e5, rook e5 takes and c6, you can play d4, you can play knight c3 later, and that's generally turning out just a little bit better. So after h3, black plays d6 and white plays c3, and we are back into a standard Rye-Lopez. So then black has got to decide, what does black want to do? Yeah, no, fantastic. I think it's really really amazing that you can I mean, not everyone could bring that off, but it was really, really funny. So no, absolutely excellent. I've actually well, I showed Natasha a few days ago. I can actually put some Christmas themes on our
oh yes,
on our overlay. Oh, wait a minute.
Do a quick Christmas theme.
We'll do a quick Christmas theme. Where was it?
Anna.
There we are. You see, that's beautiful. How we do it.
We can't see us anymore, but that's maybe an improvement.
It's all
like in snow and presents.
Not exactly. You know, that's so we can do that too, but we're not quite. I'm not sure that we're dressing up for it, but
yeah, we will. We'll have the Christmas jumpers and the hats.
Oh well, maybe. I've got
2 days time.
I've got some fantastic Christmas jumpers, I have to say. It's really well, we'll have to see. Getting back to the position, we have a Rye-Lopez, and so c3, and there's lots of possibilities here. Knight a5 is the good old-fashioned Chigorin. Bishop c2, c5. I played this as a little kid, in actual fact, and played my first ever brilliant game with sacrifices in this line. So I'm very fond of it, but it's got a less good reputation recently. One funny thing that I came across recently was an idea of the American player William Lombardi, Bill Lombardi, second of Bobby Fischer during his 1972 match. Very strong Grandmaster, but retired from chess, became a Catholic priest, then left the priesthood, married. Quite an eventful life, very interesting guy. And he actually played this move c6, which has virtually never been played. But very interesting.
We're not listening to you, Matthew. We're talking with Anna in the chat about Christmas jumpers.
That's fine. That's good. It's we're catering for every single.
All taste. Yes, you can. The only theory are the Christmas jumpers.
However.
Sorry.
Bishop b7 is one of the main lines. I think another main line got to point out is the Breyer. Developed by Giulia Breyer, a very creative player in the 1920s, and I think the main line in the that's fine, Anna, that's fantastic. So knight b8, that's the main line in the Rye-Lopez nowadays. Recommended in an excellent book by Victor Bologan. Bologan's Rye-Lopez went very much in depth in the brand, very, very good indeed. The idea of the move is you're going to redevelop the knight to d7. The bishop's going to come to b7, and then at some stage black can play a move like c5, or even just, for example, you can play the rook round to e8, the bishop to f8, play the pawn to g6. It's a very harmonious way of playing. The nice thing about it is that by delaying the advance of this c-pawn, if white goes d5, then you do get the opportunity to go c6 as well to undermine it. So, yeah, this is a very interesting way of playing. There's an even sharper way of playing, which is the Zaitsev, which is bishop b7. And this was really the, I think, any player of my generation, the thing that you associate with the Zaitsev are the Kasparov-Karpov matches, where Kasparov played some fantastic attacking games against the Rai Lopez and against the Zaitsev in particular. Amazing that Anatoly Karpov selected such a sharp line with black. But I mean, it's incredible. I mean, the theory is still very unclear, you know, who is better and why, nobody knows, but the great game.
Well, of course, the Curious Parrot is not from that generation at all. She's only 8 years old, the player of the black pieces here.
My goodness.
So the question is, will she know this history of this line, and will she go into it?
Well, she's playing quite sensibly at the moment. Not quite the main Zaitsev, but yes, Mark, I have read that Jimmy Adams biography. It was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. I really, yeah, I mean, I think that's the wonderful thing about chess, isn't it? That we really do love our history, and you know, people are willing to spend all these years, you know, researching you know, great players and bringing them to light. And not only, you know, players like Lasker. I mean, there's a fantastic German but English language edition about Lasker coming up, you know, dealing with all of Lasker's life, all the things that he did, like the game he invented called Lasker, which is sort of multi-story checkers, I think you could call it. Incredible game, but also, you know, all the books on games he wrote, you know, and lots of other stuff. His maths writings as well. You know, he wanted to be a professor of mathematics. And there's, you know, books about people like Amos Byrne, a fantastic game by Richard Forster. All those sort of things, you know, people, and Brer as well. You know, I mean, it's really incredible what people write about, and so beautiful as well. You know, it's one of my big pleasures of chess, simply, you know, that feeling that you're kind of part of some history as well, you know. And so anyway, d4, and now black plays a slightly unusual move, but it has been done before. Queen d7. So black simply aiming to play the rook to d8 afterwards. Knight bd2 and rook ad8. Well, I mean, this rook and the queen, they're sort of on a sort of a blocked file, really. But if black ever gets the chance to play d5, then the queen and rook will be very well placed. So quite interesting. Now, what you normally expect from white is a move like knight f1, and then the knight's going to come round to g3, and we're going to get this typical Rai Lopez position where white's developed very harmoniously, but black's also quite solid. Black's going to have to think, you know, how to get this knight active, because knight in front of this c-pawn, it's not a perfect structure. But
would you come out to a5 perhaps with that knight and try and push the bishop away?
You certainly can do. You've got to watch out for your e5 pawn always now, because that one's always hanging if the knight moves away from a5. But moving away from a5 does also open the line of the bishop on the e4 pawn. So there are tricks, but that's why white's going to play the knight round to g3 and e4. So, or in this case, after knight a5, you'd play bishop c2 first to defend e4.
So maybe it's slightly easier for white to play this then.
Oh, I definitely think so. I think these positions are always easier for white to play. But if you know how to play it well as black, you know, it's a wonderful way of neutralizing a really attacking white player, you know. But what you do find at the top level is that all the top players are superb exponents of the white side. They've all played some great positional crushes, so it's a very uncomfortable thing to play, I think, at the top level as black. Or that's always been my feeling. But now what happened here? Well, something quite exciting has happened. So a3. So this move a3, two ideas possibly. Either you want to make sure that after knight a5, you can put the bishop back to a2, you know, keep it on that diagonal. Or you're making sure that after bishop c2, if black plays an e takes d4, c takes d4, knight b4, well, that's not possible anymore. You know, so that's quite interesting. But black played the amazing move, knight a7.
Okay, I wasn't thinking of going that way. Where's it go? Oh, is it coming around to b6 maybe and c4?
Yeah, I'm not sure really. So the big thing, of course, is that it leaves a pawn en prise.
Oh,
so it takes, knight takes, and white is up a pawn. So queen e8.
Okay.
Does black have enough for the pawn? I really wouldn't have thought so, but let's have a look how it goes. So black is actually threatening to take on e4 in this position.
Because of the pin along the d
file. So white plays queen e2.
Yeah.
And here black plays bishop d6.
Okay.
Right. Well, the knight on e5 is en prise, of course, but I think we've got a couple of ideas here. We have got the simple knight to f3. Let me bring up an analysis board here. If I had a pound for every time I said that phrase, I would be very, very rich. So, I mean, knight f3 is the, you know, the sort of the obvious blitz move that you play. I mean, you're protecting e4. You're also threatening
e5.
You're also threatening e4 to e5, of course. You know, forking
e5. Then you take on f3, I suppose. Oh, yeah, but then it takes back. Yeah.
So, I mean, this looks quite good for white. I'm just wondering. Just what occurs to me is whether knight takes f7 could be decisive. Probably. Ooh, it's close. It's maybe
you take that with the rook, I guess.
Maybe overdoing stuff a bit. So, I mean, you want to go e5 and you want to get that forking quickly. You can actually block this diagonal in some ways. So you could play a move like bishop d5 or knight d5. So maybe it wouldn't be as decisive as
maybe knight d5, and then you might even be able to get bishop c5 after.
Well, I'm taking that.
I'm
taking that. So I mean, this would be very, very strong. I think white's got the two bishops, and this pin is very annoying. I think maybe what I'd like to do in this position is to go bishop d5. You know, break that that pin.
Yeah.
And then I'm just looking what I can do. E takes f6. I could go queen takes e2, rook e2, and bishop b3. And then I guess knight takes b3. Ooh, you'd have to play g takes f6 because rook f6, there's bishop g5.
Yeah.
So, okay, I go g takes f6. I mean, white is, this is a gorgeous position for white, of course. You know, I mean, extra pawn, weak black king side, and you know, the knight's weak, and we're just, you know, this is a really lovely position. So I
looking
think,
nice for Mad Alien.
I think Mad Alien would be very, very happy with this trip to Earth.
Should we check board 3?
Yeah, I just thinking of one more thing.
Yeah.
I was just wondering whether because you can throw in queen c6, you know, threatening mate on g2. So I was wondering whether I was wondering whether this would help, but I don't particularly think so. I mean, knight f3, or maybe then I just take first actually, and go knight f3, and I think you're going to have a big struggle.
You can't go, like, if you go rook e8 to try and stop those pieces.
Well, I've got all sorts of. I mean, queen f1 is the most obvious. But actually, you know, more or less anything works because for example, if I went just a silly move like a4, and you went bishop takes e5, I could actually go queen takes e5 because rook e5, I've got knight e5 check, and I'm forking these two. So you know, you're way too slow, basically. You know, you're just way too slow there. So I think that knight takes f7 looks, unless I'm missing something huge there, I think knight f7 would be virtually winning, I think, for Mad Alien. Dagme's played knight g4, which is very sensible as well. You know, I mean, that's a very good move. White is just a pawn up here, but and I guess white's going to be playing knight f3 next, and having exchanged off the knight on f6. Well, this, you know, the king side is very, very weak here. So looking very strong for Dagne so far.
Yes.
Shall we have a look at board 3?
Let's look at, and that's Trisha and Imogen. So
Trisha.
two very talented young players, actually.
Exactly. Let's have a look. We've got a board 3 here. Imogen against Secret Superstar. What a name. That's Trisha Kanyamarala from Ireland.
Yes.
So we've got a closed Sicilian here. Now White's played it slightly unusually. The knight has come to e2. You often, yeah, it's been played. It's been played by Boris Spassky, so certainly shouldn't be criticizing anything like that. But I never particularly liked it because you know, these two knights get in each other's way, really. You know, and Black's often got this plan of playing b4, and then this knight always has to go, well, either to d5 and you give yourself double pawns, or it has to go back to b1. You know, that's always been one of my you know, one of the things I always think, oh, I don't like that very much, but that has been played quite a bit. Now, Black can play b4, and to be honest, I do quite like the look of that, really. We'll just bring up a little analysis board and just see what. Oh no, not observe Imogen. Want to examine analysis. That's what I want to do. So b4, obvious move. Knight d5. I'm not sure about it, really. I'm not sure about that, and I'm also always a little bit worried about just knight d5, and then you're going to play e6, and the knight will come back to f4. You know, which is a very, I don't particularly like that square for Black, I have to say. So yeah, after b4, maybe White will play knight b1. But that's, yeah, I'm not sure now. I mean, even moves like c4 get interesting. No, maybe I'm overdoing stuff. But I think, you know, a move like a5, for example, is also quite nice. I quite like Black's position here. I mean, it's essentially you're playing. It's like the position, the colours have been reversed, really, and White's playing an English, and Black's playing, you know, a reverse King's Indian against it. So that, you know, that can't be bad for Black to be playing the white side of something. So I would reckon b4, and I think Black's doing, you know, quite nicely. But obviously, you know, still it's just it's Sicilian. b4 disrupting.
Right, Matthew, are you still there? I think Matthew's lost his connection. I'll see if I can share my. I'll just log on to. Right, let me message Matthew. I'm just going to dial off from here for now and close the stream, and we'll be back very, very shortly.
Yeah, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Okay, let's have a look. Are we on air here? Back again? That is the question. Good Lord, it's excitement all the way. Are we back today? This is the question. I think we are back online.
We are live, yes. I can see us on.
Okay, brilliant. So, sorry guys. Yeah, I think my internet provider just had a glitch there. Really apologize for that. It's a bit crazy, but we are back. Sorry, one of my internet providers dropped out. That's why, yeah, that's why you, yeah, I just, I've got 2 internet connections. You wouldn't believe. So one dropped out, but I've still got the other one. So
yeah, I had one of mine dropped out the other day, and so I was on the hotspot for the entire stream, and you were accusing me of eating biscuits.
Indeed. Yeah, it was making a funny noise. Terrible. Okay, anyway, we seem to be back. So yeah, sorry about this. We've I mean, this is normally rock solid, but anyway. So anyway, that was board there. Let's move on to the next board. We're going to see Maria Emelianova, photo chess against Kate Walker, and so Maria in the qualifiers, she started off by she overlooked the loss of a piece and lost her first game, but came storming back with consecutive wins. Yeah, she's obviously hoping to get off to a better start this time.
And so Maria switched to be playing for England at the start of this year. So she's got, I think they do 1 year where it's sort of transition period, and then she'll be sort of fully playing for England start of 2021.
Exactly. And well, she started quite well here because she is a pawn up in this position. Just have a quick look how that happened. So this was a London system, and here in this position, Black played castles kingside. I would have been tempted, to be honest, if I'm going to, I mean, these two are being forked, so it's a little bit tough to avoid losing a pawn. But I would have tried to create some damage in the white position, for example. I think maybe take on d4 first, you know, and then at least white gets an isolated pawn on d4, you know, with that extra pawn. What black did here was just go castles, and then queen c5, and well, essentially white's just picked up a pawn here, and black's got a couple of tempi, but not really, you know, a lot of play there. So essentially white is just a clear pawn up here. So so far looking good for Maria there. But obviously lots and lots of play still left in the position. Let's go for Georgia Headlong against Olivia Smith.
Yes, let's see that. So this will be, so Georgia was playing in the qualifiers. Olivia got straight through as the top Welsh woman player.
And well, having a look at this position, it's a Scandinavian, and well, black's bishop, could just show you, came out to g4 and then got chased back to g6 very aggressively with g4, and then white attacked it with a knight on e5 and then took it on g6 like that. Now black played this move f6, which is always very double-edged, because it means that the e6 pawn is weak. But I think that black was very, very worried about this move h5 when the bishop on g6 is trapped. So probably black did not have much of a choice there. But looking at what's happening now in this position, actually I like white's position a lot in this position. e6 is rather weak. And it's on a half-open file, so that's going to give white quite a nice target to attack.
Where's Olivia going to put her king?
It's going to go queenside. Right? It's going to go queenside. Yeah, a kingside would you just get hit very quickly with a rook's pawn there. So yeah, I mean, what can white do here? White can do several things. Can try and line up on the e6 pawn. I think the only thing you've got that's a tiny bit annoying in general is that the h4 pawn is hanging. So if you move a rook to e1, then black can attack this one. I'm not 100% sure though what black would have done after rook e1. I mean, knight f8 is very passive, and e5 feels incredibly risky. I mean, I think would we even maybe take on there and go f4, and just open up the whole position, really. I mean, that looked very, very dangerous. And I mean, rook h4, rook e6 is again, quite scary. Yeah.
You would have the castle. You wouldn't go like king f7.
Well, I mean, king f7. I mean, I can go d5 starting now, and this could be very, very, very difficult for black here. I mean, I'm threatening d6, d takes e6. I mean, this is a something like this. I just go bishop takes d5 check, and this king
is not safe.
So I'm not sure. I mean, rook e1 really looked like a very natural move, and I wasn't quite sure what. I think black's got to take a brave decision somewhere. I mean, maybe you need to go rook h4, and maybe go knight f8, gain a tempo that way, and go castles, something like that. But this knight is so bad. I mean, we go queen e3 or something, and you might need to go knight g8 or something. It's really, I don't know. That looked very difficult. I mean, what white has done is actually also quite strong, because if you go castles, I think white's going to play c5, and just aim to get this knight into d6.
Yeah.
Well, I believe really that you're going to have to give up the exchange, really. So
yeah, once that knight goes into d6, it's threatening to go to f7, forking the rooks.
That's not great. I mean, with some exchange sacrifices, you say, oh, that should be decent compensation, but I'm not really sure about it, to be honest, because well, simply that there's weak pawns everywhere, So I think there's plenty of targets. So yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, this is looking very pleasant. I mean, if black doesn't want to allow the knight onto d6, I mean, you can play knight c8 to cover d6, but you'd never want to do that. I mean, I think sacrificing the exchange is definitely the better option there. But yeah, no, looks like white really very good position there. I mean, looking at the games, I think I'm expecting quite a few decisive results, because there's sharp stuff going on today.
Yeah.
Let's have a look how Raylin and Ketevan are getting on. And this is quite interesting, actually. So after a6, white played bishop b2, rook b8. And here, indeed, Raylin played this. She really exploited the fact that she delayed the knight on b1, because d5, knight a5, and knight bd2.
Okay.
And this is very, very good, actually, because so Ketevan switched to c5, queen c2, and b5, and these are well-known positions with a white knight on c3. But then what you can see is that the knight on a5 and the pawn on b5 are attacking the c4 square. But when you play the knight on d2, then there's nothing like that. Yeah, I mean, you've got a much, you really have got a good chance there of just defending the c4 pawn in a much more comfortable way than normal.
So what's Ketty going to do with her knight that's now on a5?
Well,
sit there for a bit.
This is always the point, in actual fact. But as we see, there's something quite sharp has happened. Now, the one thing that the white does have to do in this position is to play, I believe, this move bishop c3. Oops, sorry. Let me get an analysis diagram up. Is to play this move bishop c3. Which just
because otherwise it's going to be what b take on c4 and then take on sacrifice on b2.
Yeah, what would actually happen in the game? So you get the bishop out of the way. I mean, if black plays b4, you don't mind at all. You just go back to b2, and there's no counterplay. Black's blocked its own counterplay, and of course this knight is horrific. If black decides, well, I want to take on c4 anyway, you do it, and well, the bishop's already attacking the knight on a5, and it stops the rook from coming to b4. So I believe that this is actually, very, very strong for white. Now there are some tricks in this position. There are quite a few tricks, but I believe here that that you can get at them. I'm just having a look at bishop f5 in this position, because you can try and play for a few tricks. If e4, then we might have knight takes e4, but I think I can go queen a4 in this position, and attack this bishop on a5, and yeah, I mean you're already in trouble there. Yeah, the knight maybe has to go back to b7, but that's a miserable square for the knight there. So yeah, I mean, the bishop c3. I think white's got a serious initiative there. That's my my opinion.
Yeah.
However, what happened is that Raylan played e4, which is obviously the moves. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Again, our apologies for the technical difficulties. Let's hope we don't have anything more there. It's just yeah, commentating on the internet, always risky. So black played b takes c4, b takes c4, and now we get this rook takes b2.
Okay.
Queen takes b2 and knight e4, opening up
all of white's major pieces lined up on that diagonal.
That's right. Now, however, the funny thing about this one is that I mean, probably, I'm not sure. Maybe we should go queen a3, and black will maybe takes, and takes.
Yeah.
This is not so bad for white.
No, still that knight's looking,
because yeah, this knight is so terrible. I mean, actually, you could make a good argument for white having. I think for white having pretty good compensation for the pawn. The one important thing that white needs to do here is somehow, well, or rather, the black also needs to manage is, can black get control of the b file? Because if black can get control of the b file and play queen b6, queen b4, this sort of thing, then all of a sudden you're kind of making use of this knight on a5. So this is quite, yeah. I mean, there's quite a key struggle now, to try and make most of it. I'm just wondering, could we put the queen on a better square than a3? It's a bit tough, I think. Well, maybe we could go queen to c1 actually, and just we'll end up playing like this.
Yeah.
The queen, and then if you go bishop f5, I'd like to go h3, to play g4, but there's moves like bishop d3 actually, and h5 also to consolidate. So
this is okay actually, looking at it for black.
Yeah, actually, I'm struggling to stop black from getting the queen active on the b file.
Yeah. This is an extra pawn, and then just once you untangle those pieces a bit.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I can go rook e1 to attack e7. Maybe go rook e8, and then. Well, I don't know. I mean, I could go h3, h5. What I'm looking for is something like queen c3, for example. Let's just say black goes queen b6, and I go g4 in this position. Takes.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about rook b1. I'm wondering about knight e4, threatening knight f6. Could be some compensation. Some danger somehow.
Yeah.
If you go something like bishop d7, to protect the rook on the 8, so there's no knight f6.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I can go knight g5, for example, and try and start hitting your king side, because your king side's
because that queen and knight are both taking long time to get back again, doesn't it?
I mean, look at it. It doesn't look enough. I'm not doing it right here, really. But I think.
So what would you do? Like Queen B4 to try and get a.
Yeah, Queen B4 is always the big move here. You know.
Queen F3.
Queen E1 check then is the.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I could do, you know, I could just play a move like A3, for example. Not crazy, because then you can't go Queen B3 because of Queen A5, and I'm stopping Queen B4.
Yeah.
If Knight B3, I might have a Rook B1 just to pin you.
Yeah.
So you got to watch out because, for example, if I played a move like Bishop A4, Knight D2, and I'm saying, haha, am I maybe going to win you? I could have a move like Knight D4.
Oh, check on E2.
Check on E2, but it's not over. I mean, I take the Queen on B6, take the pawn on A6. You know, it's. I think. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe what I said about, you know, full compensation for the pawn. Maybe that's a little bit much, but there's definitely compensation. You know, I mean, this is not easy at all for black. So white went Queen C2. Ketevan took, and played this move E5. That's a pretty good move. The idea of this is you're giving white a decision, which is always you know, a good idea. Are you going to allow black to get this pawn in the center? If you play D takes C6, then obviously this knight can get back more easily to C6. If you leave it there, then well, black will maybe be able to play F5 and E4 or something like that. I would probably simply play. Would I play Rook B1? I think you've got to watch out a little bit. I'm trying to work out whether this is whether this is desirable. I mean, after Rook B1, black gets the option of playing Bishop F5. So you'd want to go Bishop E4 probably. I mean, that white light square bishop is not fantastic, so you know, you wouldn't necessarily mourn its exchange. The black can play F5, and then how do we do this? I'd love to be able to meet it with Knight G5, of course, that's the thing, but doesn't look possible.
That square.
I'm wondering about other things.
Still, though, think that knight on A5. It's still not obvious to me how that gets us back.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, there are all sorts of, you know, there are all sorts of things that you can look at. I mean, I could do this one, for example, and the knight goes to B6. I go Queen takes A6. Okay, you get back to C8. I go Rook B7. You know, I've got compensation here with white. You know, I mean, you know, my pieces are really excellent, and you know, I've got a passed A pawn even. You know, so. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I don't know about whether Rook B1 is the best. Maybe we can play a bit more subtly. Maybe play Queen C3 first, get out of the way, or even do something like H3. You know, to be able to have G4 later, or even this is maybe going a bit bananas. Yeah, I was wondering about playing H4 in order to be able to play Knight E4 to G5 later. That's probably you know, going a bit crazy, but. Yeah, I mean, this is as long as you know, Raylin just sort of doesn't get upset with the idea of, you know, I've swapped off, I've missed a tactic and lost a pawn, then I think, you know, those stages it's important. You've got to think like a computer. You know, and a computer just looks at the position.
What do I do now?
Every single time. And, you know, if you ask the computer says, oh, well, no, but this is, you know, this is maybe just a tiny advantage for black, and doesn't realize, you know, that it should be upset because it's lost a pawn, you know, because it missed something earlier. And there's some players in history who have been very good at doing that. Karpov was fantastic at just sort of, you know, ignoring what has gone before and just, you know, very concretely saying, oh, I moved my knight to B3 last move. Well, I should move it back to D2. You know, that's taking a move back, you know, just being very concrete about the position in front of you. And that's a very big skill, and well, quite difficult, of course. But in general, the white's position is absolutely fine. I think, you know, it's just because of this bad knight on A5.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at Mad Alien. That's Dagne. Dagne, rather. Yeah, so white is still a clear pawn up here. Pieces have been exchanged. No, actually, it's, yeah. What is white going to do? White's going to play probably a move like f3 at some stage to consolidate the e4 pawn and come on the d file. In principle, this should just be, you know, a clear win for white. You know, just a technical win. You know, you're just going to keep on swapping off pieces and then win the ending at the end. So Dagne keeping it nicely under control at the moment against the curious parrot. Let's have a look. We'll have a look at Imogen Dyson against Secret Superstar. Oh, this has gone very well for black because white. So white met b4 with knight a4, queen a5, and then after c3 takes, white tried to get this knight back into play, knight a c3, but this actually just loses a pawn to rook takes b2.
And that now looking nice as well for that.
Yeah, and the problem is in this position as well is that you've lost your c pawn, so this d3 pawn is really weak now. We are going to be playing moves like bishop a6 and knight e5 or knight b4. So you know, sometimes you lose a pawn and you just say, well, you know, it's fine. You know, I've lost a pawn, but it hasn't really bothered. It hasn't really damaged my position. But
yeah. Try counterattacking on the king side. So even things like f4, you're weakening your second rank as well. So
yeah, I mean, you're weakening your second rank, and you're also you're a long way away from an attack succeeding. You know, that's the thing. So so yeah, queen c1 and rook b8 from black. That's probably, I guess, I don't know. That's just a personal matter. I might have looked at rook b6, just you know, just to not completely, to try and gain something from being on the file. You know, rather than moving it back to b8, just.
You mean you're going to try and double up rooks in a minute?
Yeah, and also the rook's defending the knight on c6, you know, so that's quite friendly somehow, you know, and it's always, you know, you try and make the maximum of every move you've got, and a move like rook b8, you sort of think, oh, you know, I came all the way to b2 and then I went all the way back to b8, you know, just I just like the idea of.
I would be nervous, I think, of putting my rook onto b6 just in case I wanted to bring my queen back that way.
Yeah, I mean, you've always got a6 for the queen, so which attacks d3. So I'm not sure, but no, it's just a personal thing. That would be my first reaction. Can I make something of that?
Interesting. Yeah.
You know, you just try and make the most of everything you've got, but it's maybe just a bit greedy. And I think rook b8 is a very good move there. So okay, so that's looking good for Superstar 7.
Did we look at Nina Pert yet?
Oh no, we haven't. That's a good point.
Lara against Nina.
Lara Puta against yeah. Let's have a look at that one because so I saw a Facebook post from Father Richard Pert. I am Richard Pert this morning, and she apparently had a fantastic performance in the European Online Club Championships. I think I'm getting that. But I think she had
it was arranged, wasn't it, so that it would not clash. The finalists wouldn't clash.
And it was she got an absolutely fantastic performance. So got lots of congratulations from everyone. And looking at this game, it looks like she is also winning in actual fact. Because black is a piece up here, and although the black king is a little bit open, well, black's queen is perfectly placed to deal with all the threats. So this could be an excellent start against Lara Puta, who qualified very well from the qualifiers. So a very strong player. So how can we try and make something of this with white? I mean, the key thing is obviously getting to this diagonal would be absolutely beautiful, but we've got this problem with the queen on d5. The other way that we could do it would be to get onto the h file, But again, this queen on d5 is covering.
So maybe we could try rook d4 to try and ask the queen to move off that diagonal.
Ask the queen.
Or actually, rook h5.
Yeah, rook h5 was interesting. That was the one I was looking at as well. What I'm a little bit... Oh, wait a minute, rook h5. Oh, good lord. We're attacking the knight. Oh, dear me, Matthew.
That was the idea.
Oh, dear me. Oh, my goodness. Well, then in that case, take all my words back, because this is rather more tricky then. So we should go queen c4.
Yeah.
And we're going to defend our knight. I think it's the only way, really, because after rook f5, we've got queen e8 check.
Yeah.
You go rook f8, and I go queen takes f8. So that would be that would not be good. I mean, g5 is possible, but feels absolutely suicidal, really, with h4. So we can go queen c4.
Yeah.
But then we get this move queen c2.
Okay. Oh, threatening h7 check.
So we've got a queen h7 check, and we've got a rook takes a5.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, here we need to. This is where we need to show some real ingenuity.
I can tell you a move that we won't play in this position. What we won't play is our queen back to f7, because that allows checkmate.
Indeed. Now, I mean, queen h7, is that actually winning? That is not clear. So, I mean, knight c6 then would be, it's a really interesting position, this one. So knight c6 is the obvious one. Obviously, if you get your knight round to e5, you're doing well. So queen h7 check, we go king f7.
Yeah.
And now the obvious continuation is rook f5 check. Because, I mean, at the very least, queen f5 check, you could always go back to g8, and then black's got at least a draw. I bet you could also go to e7, of course, but that's how I don't know whether this is a good way of calculating, but that's often the way that I end up calculating practically, is that if you're calculating a line where you're under attack, if you find your way to a draw by perpetual or something like that, you don't look any further. You just stop there and then go to the next line, because that's the most you've got. There's no point in looking for more. If you get the position on the board, you'll look for more, but don't waste time trying to refine a line where you've got at least perpetual. I find this a very good way of calculating like that. So we've got king e7 or king e8. I mean, king e8 is the most natural there, just getting out of a queen g7 check. Although you do have to say that oops, I'm terribly sorry, I'm going bananas there. If you go king e7 queen g7, we still have rook f7, so it's not
and then we pretty much have to exchange rooks, I would think.
Well, I've got a queen g5 check, but then I go king d7, and indeed this rook is a little bit trapped. And I mean, you've got two pawns and some pass pawns, but yeah, it's this knight is coming into e5. It's not good enough, really. So so actually, I mean, could king e7? I mean, king e7 is very forcing, so that might actually be even the strongest, maybe. I mean, I can go rook g5. That's possible, but then at the very least, I could go rook f7. Which is going to be very similar to what we're looking at. And rook g7, I go knight e5, and I'm coming in with my threats now. So could it be that rook h5, queen c4 is going to be good enough for black? And my initial assessment will hold, despite having missed a rather important tactic. I can't see a better move than queen c2. I can't, I'm afraid. I mean, what I was wondering about, I mean, you wonder about, a move like queen e7, and then if knight e6, you've got a rook h8 check or something. But this is just it's never going to be a draw. The queen's beautifully placed, covering this diagonal, so you're never going to have perpetual there. It's got to be queen c2. It's got to be queen c2, but then knight c6, and I don't see how we're. I don't see how we're going to do this. I mean, there's one. There's. You see how desperate you start getting. I mean, this because
misclicked here.
you want to do a check Queen G6. You know, that's what you want to do. The idea is, you know, for example, if I go A6 and I go check there and Queen G6, and then I could take on D6. That would be the idea, you know. And of course, G takes H6, Queen G6 check would be a draw.
Yeah.
But there you notice really, you know, this is why you bring the knight back to E5 because to C6, because you go knight E5 and you're covering everything, you know, all these squares here, you know. So no, that's nothing at all. So yeah, no, I don't know. I can't. I'm maybe missing something, but I don't see a way for white to continue with the attack. So this is indeed looking very good for Nina, and this has been played. Both players, you know, bringing out the tactics. But Queen C4, Queen C2, Knight C6, amazing, excellent play. You know, really, really good.
Should we check out Zoe Varney on board? Suzanne Barry against Zoe Varney. Yeah,
Zoe Varney, another very promising English junior player. Horsey chess. That's another good. Well, black is doing incredibly well here. 2 bishops. White's only got 2 pawns for the piece. So, in actual fact, White sacrificed here with after H6. White played bishop takes H6 here. So White was really going for it there.
Yeah, that was the move I was going to say. Knight G6.
Yeah. So we'll play Queen G6 now, and it's very good for black.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against 5. Piece for 2 pawns.
Yeah, it's an extra piece. I mean, you could also you could also play F takes G6 here. You know, and just this is also very strong as well.
Yeah.
Maybe FG6 is even better, actually. So I think we're, I mean, definitely black is doing very, very well here.
Yeah.
So let's have a look. Should we keep on going then? Let's have a look at
Alice Lampard against Florence Wilson. Match between the Scots.
Alice Lampard against. Has this game finished already? Actually.
Oh, has it? Has it?
I'm not getting anything back.
Fine. You finished. Let me check the results.
I just closed. I've got so many analysis boards open up. It might be a question of me having too much open, but
if it has finished, I'm going to guess it's a draw. No, it's not. It's a win for Alice.
Okay. Alice starting very well again after
so they were both the qualifiers, Alice and Florence.
Yeah, a very fine performance in the qualifiers. So excellent.
Let's check board 9 as well. Then May Katabi against Tashika Aurora.
Thin leapfrog, thin rose leapfrog. My goodness. That one also seems to have finished, I think. Because I'm not getting anything back for that one.
The results aren't up yet, but they might have just finished.
So it's looking like, looking like we've got 7 games going still. Basically, I think that's right.
Yeah.
So let's let's cycle through all of them then.
Okay.
Now this.
This looks like Ketty's knight on A5.
Yeah. So Ketty has definitely done a good plan there, neutralizing White's pressure on the B file. Looking to swap off rooks, and if you can do that, that's the first step really to getting this knight back into play. This is looking good for Ketevan now.
So I predict she'll take back with the knight then, and then bring the queen out.
You were going to guess, weren't you, Natasha?
I was going to guess the moves. Yeah, I still haven't quite organised.
You were going to get to be the top guesser.
Yeah, I got to register for one game. Thing is, because I keep checking our stream as well, and so I can't keep on that. That's my excuse.
No worries. Yeah, no, so this is excellent. This is very good for black. So looks like the top seed is now really looking to make the full point, but still quite a way to go, as always here. I think, yeah, Queen A5. That was I was going to suggest that one. Attacking the knight on D2.
Does my diligence with monitoring the stream outweigh my competitive instinct on trying to guess more moves than you?
I think
so far, but you know, that could change at any moment.
I am actually I am willing to concede that you're the better guesser, and just so you keep on looking at the stream. But I do have a go for guessing as well. That's always nice. This is a very good move. Queen B4 is coming in next. So yeah, Ketevan really starting to turn the screw now on this one. Pardon me. Mad Alien is going quite nicely.
I should call it Dagne.
Sorry, I can't. It's just so good. It's just,
I know. Once you put it in your mind, I was calling her that the whole time.
The thing is, it's Mad Alien. It's Mad Alien 2. It's Mad Alien 2. So who's Mad Alien 1? That's what I want to know. It's
yeah, no, that's an interesting question.
So
than her, I think.
Sorry?
She's the elder of the two. I think her and Cheville is. I think Dagne's the older. Is that right?
Okay. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So the Curious Parrot offered a draw there, but Dagne has refused, which you would expect, of course. So Black's got the pawn back, but obviously the pawn structure is ruined here. So in principle, everything going quite nicely. I think what White is preparing now is the move Queen F5 to play Rook D7, and this move G3 took away a Queen H4 check possibility. So I think if Queen F5,
Dagne's going to put her king on H3, like Alpha Zero likes to, and just leave it there, nice and safe.
I'm not sure. Bishop C8 check is. Bishop C8 check might be a bit annoying there. So
yeah.
I mean, actually, in terms of if you're looking for a move now, actually, I would suggest Bishop C8 from Black. To stop Queen F5, and I mean the bishop's doing nothing on B7. I think obviously maybe something like Rook D5 or takes first, and Rook D5 can happen, but I think Bishop C8 would be a reasonable line to play. But obviously Black in very bad shape here. White's doing very nicely there.
Yeah, I mean, Black is well up on the clock. But I think Dagne doesn't mind so much. She often goes quite low on the clock anyway. I think she knows what to do.
Yeah, very experienced player, and you wouldn't expect her to have any difficulties, just converting this, quite smoothly. I think that should be. I do find that converting games online, I do find a little bit more tricky. I think especially because. When you're over the board, you also see that your opponent is suffering. That always gives you a nice boost. Whereas online, you just can't see it. And
you don't just feel sorry for your opponents if they've got a difficult position.
No, I never feel sorry for my opponents when they. It's whereas online, it's a somewhat. I suppose disconnected feeling, you could say. You're not always sure what the opponent is thinking, and that is a bit of missing input, I think, as well. But now let's have a look at Photo Chess, Maria Emelianova. White is still just a pawn up, in actual fact. And yeah, the thing is, of course, Black missing that pawn, Black misses breaks. Black's position is still reasonable. It's looking very, very harmonious, really, you'd say. But it's just, it's hard to think what Black can really do actively. I think with White, I'd be looking to, to probably play the rooks, double up the rooks. That's a very nice idea. Maybe move this knight around. Knight to D2 to F1 to E3, maybe get rid of this good knight, and then maybe try and once you got rid of this knight, you can maybe triple up on the E file, do things nice and slowly, you know. I mean, but I think doubling up on the e-file like this, it adds lots of tricks, you know. E6, you know, maybe you could even you never know, maybe venture a g4 later, and you know, if the knight can't retreat, he has to retreat to e7, then you take on e6. You know, I think you can just you're at the stage here where you should just start
building up,
making pressure points against the black position, and just letting black wonder about, oh, is there a tactic or isn't there? You know, I mean, that's just that's a very easy way to do it. That's how the experienced players, the Keith Arkles and the Mark Hebden, you know, that's Charlie Chesscat. Hello, Charlie Chesscat. That's Tom. Hi, greetings.
How are you doing?
So, Charlie the Chesscat. Do you know, funnily enough, Charlie the Chesscat, you look just like the cat that my brother has just welcomed into his house, called Phoebe.
Tortoise.
That's a tortoise. I'm not quite sure what's.
I think Charlie Chesscat has brought us a tortoise.
Fantastic. But Charlie the Chesscat looks just like the cat that my brother has just welcomed into his house, called Phoebe, who apparently spent the morning pretending to be a tigress and hitting my sister-in-law over the head every time she went up the stairs. So it's slow and steady. Fantastic.
Day, Charlie.
So good afternoon, Em. So yeah, so this is looking very promising for Maria. London system has given a winning position from the opening, which is not too surprising when you've got if you've been maybe following a course from Ginger GM. So looking good there for white. Oh, this one has got pretty aggressive. So we
Georgia Headlong, isn't it, against
Olivia Smith?
Against Olivia
Smith. Yeah. So so we said this knight was coming into d6, and I was kind of recommending that we should give up the exchange for it. Well, black hasn't. So black's trying to survive with that knight on d6, not doing a bad job. Material is still even, and the pawn on d5 is hanging, but the pawn on f4 is hanging in return. So, you know, nothing, no immediate loss of material already. It looks very, 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 very risky, of course, for black. But yeah, maybe still some survival chances. How are we going to do this? I really feel that this should be so good for white. I mean, what I'm the thing that really tempts you, of course, is to just get these rooks into big attacking positions, and I think one of them would be the C file, and the other one would be to put a rook on the B file. That what's really, you know, appeals. So
across. Like,
well, yeah. So rook e3 is one idea that appeals, you know, because if you go, but then black, well, if you go fe, I go fe, you know, and I'm still consolidated. If you go knight f4, then I can go rook b3, and I'm actually a double attack here and here.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, that would be the first move that that comes into my head. And then we'll work out whether we go rook c1 next, or whether we go, you know, rook b3. I mean, that's the basic idea. Now we could also do, another good idea would be to go rook c1, because if you go something like queen b6, then I'll go rook e3, and well, I might even have the little bonus of hitting your queen on b6. So you put the queen in the way of the attack. If rook c1, you could go something like queen d7, and again, a move like queen d5 allows knight f4.
I know we can't. Yeah.
Unless there's something decisive there, you know, then I'm not 100%. Then black would probably be reasonably satisfied about getting that. Queen to d7. Well, I mean, rook e3 again would be quite reasonable. The only reason I wanted to avoid rook c1 and play rook e3 first is No, actually, I was just going to say something that's totally rubbish, really. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any difference, I don't think. Probably both good moves there. Yeah, I mean, you go rook b3, so I'm not quite sure what black would do. Well, maybe if you say a move like king a8, rook b3, rook b8, for example, but then we can come with a queen a5 or something like that. You know, I mean, it's big attacking play. So I think black's got a very pleasant. White's got a very pleasant position in this time. Ooh, the f5 has been played. Now, is this going to be?
Because now that knight on d6 is going to be a bit less secure, isn't it?
Yeah. So, well, the tactics are not so bad, because if f takes c5, we go knight b5. Let me just bring up that diagram again. So f takes c5.
Arrows. The crowd is asking for arrows.
Crowd is asking for arrows. Okay, so f5 takes. So knight b5. We're going to start with our arrows. So if we go f takes c5, when this one is hanging, we move the knight back to b5. So knight b5, attacking the queen. And you might say queen b6 takes, and queen takes b5, and there's material parity. But
look, e7 at the end
with arrows and a high
arrows both ways.
So and we are attacking d8 and f8 there. So that's a fork there. So that's looking really good. Now the only question is, can black play a move like knight c5? And we again, of course, going to threaten f takes c5 here. Rich
Jones, that sounds like you are watching chess rather than doing your work. I mean, as well as doing your work. That's very good. Good multitasking there.
So here in this position, we would want to play a move like e6 to meet queen d6. Here, when the queen takes the knight, we play e7 again. However, rook takes d6 avoids this, and e7 is just absolutely nothing. The rook just moves away. So after knight c5, we really need to find something. And there's also, I mean, there's also another possibility. Just about instead of, we could also play this move knight d4. I think. Is that possible? Yeah, kind of possible. Kind of possible. A little bit crazy. The idea is queen takes d4. We go f takes c5, and we're attacking these two.
Can we take?
We can take on b5 though. That's the point. So that was a stroke of genius that wasn't quite
worked. Nearly worked.
I'm a little bit embarrassed about that one. So
I've got it though.
So what are we going to do then? Queen takes d5 maybe. So we protect the knight on d6. F takes e5. And I don't know. Have we got any?
This is, isn't it?
This is feeling a little bit worrying for. Well, not worrying for white, maybe, but
it's not quite mate yet.
It's not quite mate yet. No. I can go rook takes e5 and threaten takes c5 here. But I am a. Ooh, you're a little bit pinned, really, you know, and I'm not 100% sure what this is going to give. I mean, if I play a move like b6, for example, I'm not quite sure how you get out of this pin, you know, in an elegant way, and stuff like, you know, b4, knight a4. It's just getting very messy. Yeah. So I don't think you want to. I don't really think you want to take on d5. I mean, knight b5 is probably going to be the best move there.
Yeah.
I play queen b6, and I will play e6, I guess, to meet queen b5 with e7 there.
Favorite e7.
Our favorite trick, but I mean, we've got we can do all sorts of things here. I mean, we could go. Well, we've got to watch out here because rook e8, we've got this move queen f4 check, which is quite unpleasant. King a8, I've got knight c7.
Yeah.
Flipping these two. You might be able to go king c8, but I mean, that really does look so risky to put the king along here. You know, I mean, that's not gonna end well in some way. You know, I mean, even a simple knight d4, for example, and then rook c1. So is the sound actually going bad from time to time? Because I can sort of hear an echo from time to time. I have the feeling. But,
okay. I heard something slightly metallic a moment ago, but it seems okay for me. We'll see what the chat.
Okay. So
should we look at the next one?
Yeah.
So that is Lara against Nina.
So Nina is doing very well here. Looks like.
Thank you, Tom. Sounds okay.
Okay, fantastic. So it's just it's almost like I can hear an echo as if you're listening to it as well, and the sound is playing at your end as well a bit slowly. That's why I'm. Okay, so Queen e2 is a good move. So black is a piece up. Queen e2 is a very good move. Just dealing with any possible checks along the e file, attacking this one. Yeah, I mean, black's going to get the queen probably in a solid place. We're going to put the queen on e6, for example.
Yeah.
And then slowly we're going to get our knight active, and you know, I mean, it's great, Mark, fantastic, thanks. Just obviously worried well with the problems that we had there. You know, that was oh, good lord, did I miss that one? I certainly did. We've got a little
forking these two pawns.
Yeah, it's not terrible because if you take one of the pawns, I'll take the c4 pawn. So, for example, a move like a6 would be very sensible. Queen takes g7, queen takes c4, and then, well, you know, we've got two passed pawns there, so that would be great. You can hear noises. There's a slight delay, so you're hearing yourself through Natasha. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, actually. That's what I was thinking somehow. Okay. Yeah, not quite sure. My internet says it's super fast and I'm actually careering along, but it's obviously not 100% great. So yeah, this should be a win for black. I noticed we've had a win for Zoe Varney, so horsey chess.
Okay, that was looking good, wasn't it?
That was a piece up indeed. So yeah. That's looking very, very good. We've got Imogen against Imogen Dyson against Secret Superstar Trisha. Still, well, actually,
quite good for Trisha earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's still still looking good. Black's still a pawn up, but somehow White's done a pretty good job of just getting a bit developed, because it was looking a bit worrying, you know, but managed to exchange off the d pawn. The only question now is whether we're going to get some sort of break coming through the king side, through the center rather, with d5, because
you can't take on e5 here because of the pin. And then if White moves, what do you think, drops the bishop back? Then this diagonal might become
this one, you mean?
That one and the other, yeah. You've got that diagonal, and then you've got the bishop on g7. If you ever take it, you wouldn't have to do it straight away.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you could play a move like like rook c8, or it's better for black, but White's still some sort of survival chances still, you know. So yes, no, Harriet Hunter, Susan Lalage.
Harriet's playing. Harriet's going to play in, I think, it's either the Rapid or the Blitz. I've been told she will be playing.
Susan indeed does not play anymore. She's a chess teacher, isn't she?
And her daughters play.
Indeed.
Not lost to the chess world in any sense.
No, so yeah, Susan is she's a chess teacher, isn't she, Susan?
Yeah. She teaches chess, and she also teaches people to, you know, like when you do the 11+ or whatever to get into grammar school, she does coaching on that as well. So yeah, no, she was you know, like that sort of maths and logic and that sort of thing she was teaching as well. So she's very multi-talented, is Susan.
Queen a3, that's quite a good move. Rook b2 coming in. So now that this diagonal, now that this rank has been opened, black's looking to get the rook active in there. It's a very pleasant position for black here. So looking very good. What else have we got here? Oh, we've got this one here.
Oh, a written pawn ending.
Indeed. So, black met knight b5 with knight e4, which is a very that's a very tricky move. Was this really? If rook,
Georgia headlong against Olivia Smithware. Oh no,
right. That's right. That's the game.
Yeah.
This was a very confusing moment. Actually, there were all sorts of tactics, but I don't know whether they. So I mean, Queen d4 was one idea. You know, I think just I'm attacking the queen on c7, attacking a7. But we've got amongst other things, Queen a5. Rook takes e4 looked very natural, because after all, we destroy the attacker we're attacking. But the idea was d takes e4, and then we're attacking the queen. So knight c7 and rook d2. Rook d2 and king c7. You can play e6, which looks like quite a good rook ending for white, I have to say. But is it winning? It is a very good
96, Mark. That's a long time ago. I remember the Newcastle tournament in 96. It was but there were lots of players there. Ingrid Lauterbach was there as well, wasn't she? Lots of players. Andrew Muir. I'm trying to remember. Tim Wall. Is that the one?
Yeah, knight a6 check here. I would just take and then take this one, I think, Tom. So I think that would not actually work. So maybe knight e4. Maybe there wasn't any better. I wouldn't have bet on that, to be honest. I'm quite surprised that this is possible. So black took on d2 with check. Amazingly enough, rook takes d2, king c7. e6 and rook e8, rook g1 and rook e7. It's all a bit desperate for black, but black is actually holding this for now.
Yes. Where would you learn about rook and pawn endings? It depends how technical you want to be. There is a book, a very entertaining book, which is by Keith Arkle, called Arkle's Endings, which came out fairly recently. And in it, he's an absolute master at rook and pawn endings, because in his life he has played so many of them. And in it, he goes through several of his games in great detail about sort of what he was thinking about the end game and how to play it. And then if you want it more technical, there's 100 endings you have to know.
Oh, that's a fantastic book by I think De La Villa, published by New in Chess. Really fantastic book. Yeah, absolutely. That's you don't have to learn too much, but just he focuses on the endings that are likely to arise in practice, and also gives very simple explanations for them. It's a absolutely superb book.
Because I think for juniors, then studying the end games pays off a lot. It might not be that your favorite part of the game as a junior, but these end games do come up more often than you think, especially the rook and pawn endings. They're in so many games, and this one it looked like a big attack at first, but it's going to now come down to a rook and pawn end game.
Yes, the Twitter sensation Mr. Dodgy, he once did he did a series of spoofs on books. And he called this one 100 endings you're never going to learn. So, yes. But I mean, really, it really is a fantastic book, and I used to use it all the time before I played a game. You know, just to go through that and just get a few of those familiar endings back in your head. You know, it's so it really is the
one you know. You say 53 of the endings. You know
So yeah, that's right, Driffield. The only thing about I was looking at this sort of stuff. You know, you could go rook check, king d6, rook takes d5 check, and it's a nice tactic indeed. But actually, it's actually black who comes out on top here, because black's just going to grab the pawn on e6, and black's going to be a pawn up. So I'm trying to work out how black should actually white should actually do this. I think rook g2 would be a very good way to continue here. And if rook g8, then we go h5 here, and then we're going to get h6 and rook g7. And I think that's looking incredibly strong. I was just wondering whether there was a way to to counterattack. And there might be. I mean, king d6, rook g7 takes, and king e5 is not completely over. But I mean,
then take the pawns on the queen side, and then maybe try for e7.
We'll go e7 and rook here. I mean, you can cause some confusion, right? I mean, you can try and play like this, but I would guess that white is winning here. I mean, that's. I would guess that white is winning there, but.
Okay. So then black was better to defend that g pawn.
Well, no, I think if you defend your g pawn, you're just losing completely. So. Okay. So I think
this position, just you think is a win for white?
I think so. I don't quite. Yeah, I don't know how black would defend this. I mean, this is just a huge threat. So I think probably the best thing would be to go for a counterattack. But I think this is looking very good for white. So yeah. So just Ketevan has actually won this game.
Ah, well done her. Grandmaster Ketevan Arakhamia has won on board 1.
Indeed, well played, Ketevan. Hard luck, Raylin. Dagne has won as well with a.
So it's going with seedings so far.
Absolutely going with seedings. That's right. So Ivani's won again. Let's have a look at Maria there. So Maria's just played the bold g4 here.
Okay, hitting that knight. So she's a kingside attack really, and an attack down the e file.
I'm not sure. So I mean, knight h6 I think is forced here, because if you go back to e7 or if you go to e7 or d6, then this pawn hangs.
Yeah.
So knight h6 is going to be forced, and then I guess that is white going to play f5 afterwards? Possibly white's just going to play f5, get rid of this doubled f pawn, and then just have an even better structure.
Yeah.
So that could be quite good for white. That's looking very promising. Have a look.
Trisha on board 3.
Sorry.
Trisha on board 3. Trisha against Imogen.
Yeah, this was what we looked at before there. So that one. I just wanted to go and see because this game's progressed quite a lot. So Nina has indeed. She's just gone for it completely. A very bold play there. Just pushing the pawn, and this should be completely winning now because we're going to get Queen B2.
Yeah.
And it's just not going to be possible to give perpetual to the black king. You've got a knight in the way as well.
Just push that a pawn and finish it off.
Indeed, excellent. So it looks like a great win for Nina coming up.
How old is Nina actually? I'm just going to look that up. I know she's a young player. Nina, born in. Oh, it doesn't have it. Doesn't have it.
If Richard is watching, how old is Nina? So yeah, so here in this game, so we've only got a few games going on. We've got Maria Emelianova's game. We've got this game of the game of Olivia Smith as well, and Nina's game will be finishing soon, we sort of think. And this game, Imogen Dyson against Trisha. So black has opened up the diagonal and is now going to put a knight. Put a knight as well on e5. So a good square for the knight there. I mean, white's doing pretty well because I really did think white's position was very difficult, and white's really defended well, hung in really tough. So it's still not. It's a very pleasant position for black, of course, but still not.
Matthew, interesting news. Taran, Trisha's brother, would be happy to join our stream.
Oh, right, okay.
I actually invited Trisha's mum, but Trisha's brother would be happy to join. So I'm just going to send them the link, and hopefully he will join us shortly.
Fantastic.
You carry on.
So, yeah, let's have a look. So how should white try to do this? I mean, one idea that, oh, let's bring up an analysis diagram. Here we go. Knight d5 is one obvious thing. We could take, and Nina Pert is 12. Okay.
Ah, great, thank you.
This is quite interesting. I mean, you get this square on c6 for the rook, and that sort of has a bit of a knock-on effect for black. So, for example, if you play knight e5, then you're sort of blocking this diagonal a little bit. I mean, you might find some way to get some play. I mean, well, in actual fact, I mean, we could take like this actually and take the pawn on a7, which would be quite interesting. You're a little bit fragile on your king side. You really do miss your f pawn there, but that's probably not so bad. This, so knight d5 feels like quite a natural move to do. I mean, I think black has to take that one because we're threatening knight e7. So yeah, I mean, I think takes is a reasonable move, and then black's got to work out what should be done there, because knight c5 we can probably just take on d6 here. Again, black's better in this position because I think you go queen d6, rook c5. I'm saying black's better because there's dark squared weaknesses, you know, here, and there's pressure. But I don't know. I think white's position has definitely improved there. So e takes c5. We need to find a good, clever move here. Probably we would take on c2 and go knight e5 maybe, and just threatening knight d3. We're blocking off this attack, and well, we'll just try and slowly get just improve the position. There's some counterplay though for white with a move like rook c7. Well, I'm a little bit worried all the time. Well, we got some bishop c5s and queen f7s actually, so that's quite. Yeah, that's maybe not so clear. White's done very nicely with this doubling of rooks there. I think we need to find a good move here for black.
Good move for black to keep the initiative.
It's just it's funny. It's funny. You're just slightly wrong in a few ways, you know, because if you wanted to take, you maybe want to play queen b7 or something, you know, just stop the rook coming into c7. But then we've got bishop takes d6, and I could go
short of time here.
Knight b6. Sorry.
The crowd saying black is very short of time here as well.
Oh, let's have a look. Oh, good lord, indeed, 30 seconds left.
Okay, she'll get an extra 15 seconds each move, but she has, yeah, it's quite nerve-wracking just playing on those increments.
Indeed. So why didn't play the move bishop takes d6? So so knight c5 then has worked out quite well. h6. Yeah, black's rook f1. White's playing quite quickly. I mean, I think obviously just trying to keep the pressure on black. Let's have a look. How is black going to try and do this? It's not easy for black to get her pieces developed. Maybe you sort of suggest certainly putting a rook on d7. I was thinking maybe of putting trying to get the rooks on e8, e7. You know, it covers f7 that way as well, and then maybe trying to invade on the e file. But it's not too easy. Now, I'd expect white to play h4 actually, just just well, making black wonder. You know, is something going to happen on the king side now? But rook f2 is rook cf2 is a little
bit up on f7 as well.
Yeah, rook c7. That's a good move. That's correct. And then the rook can come over to e7, and you're both defending f7 and also challenging for the e file there as well.
Yeah.
I think at the moment Black's really got to try and
you've lined that all up.
Yeah, Black's really got to try and just survive for the moment. Got the extra pawn. You know, long term this is good, but for now you've just got to try and survive some of the pressure now.
Yes. You're the top guesser. I am now going to start. I'm going to take you on in this guessing game.
I've got 0 out of 1, Natasha, so I'm not exactly.
It gives me a good chance then. Oh, but it's knocked me off due to inactivity.
Yeah. Okay. So I am expecting. Oh, so bishop d2 is a little trap, threatening bishop a5. Black plays rook e7.
So White's trying to swap off those bishops. That's my guess.
No, I'm not sure. I think the idea was to play bishop a5 actually, and that was the idea. Yeah, I mean, I would probably play. Well, actually, come to think of it now, now that the bishop's on d2, knight e4 is a bit of an annoying threat there. So yeah, that bishop was
queen. Would you to try and discourage that?
Well, I think the bishop was well placed on f. Yeah, the bishop d2 is a bit awkward. I think. I'm not quite sure. What should we be doing here? I suppose we could play this move, bishop c3. It does feel very odd to give up the 2 bishops and to.
I already guessed that one.
Yeah, and to leave yourself with this miserable piece, really. But the f6 square is quite nice. Yeah, I mean, you have the feeling that that this king side's a little bit weak, so you might be able to gain some chances.
I'm going to just guess it before I tell you what I think Black can do. Ah, if you do this knight e4, oh, but then she'll take on g7, won't she? First, take on g7, take on f2.
And no, you wouldn't take on f2. That would be suicidal. You take back on g7. I think. I mean, what I would my natural instinct again with Black would be to take on c3, and after queen takes c3 to go. So after queen takes c3 to go knight d7. And then just go knight d7. Oops, knight d7 there. A rook e8 is also good, but knight d7 can come in later, and then you're covering f6. And you can get the knight into e5. You know, that's such a beautiful square. Then, yeah, I think I'm not quite sure how White's handled this really. Swapping off the dark squared bishops is a bit. I mean, you're left with this piece now, which is really not a good one. You know, so. Long term here again, Black is very, very comfortable. The only question is whether you can exploit some of these dark squared weaknesses that are still there, but I'm not sure. How on earth would
you what? Put your queen in on f6 to try and exploit d6?
Well, f6 I'm not sure. I was thinking more of something like queen d2. And after king h7, then something like rook f6. But I don't know. You've got this. This second rank is dangerous as soon as you move your rook off f2. So now this is looking very, very good for Black again. I think there was a moment where you sort of thought, White could have maybe played h4, h5, and and really tried to loosen up the Black king side. But now this is looking very. It's looking very difficult for White to create stuff now again. So, but okay. I mean, maybe we should just go.
There you go. Queen f6 correct. I must be. What are you up to? I'm on 3 correct so far.
I'm not sure. No, I kept on cancelling my guesses, so that hasn't really worked out very well. So Queen D7. I would have preferred, if possible, maybe a move like Queen C7, because then you can play Knight D7 and chase and go Knight E5. That's what I want to do, you know, and because the Knight on E5 defends the F7 pawn. That's what I was really looking for.
Yeah, that's useful.
But Queen D7 is fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Also get. I was going to say you could get to E5 via D3, but Queen D4 stopped that.
Yeah, I was wondering a little bit about an H4 to H5 maybe, but well, that will still be possible later. Queen D4. Now, I think one thing you could definitely consider here, maybe not immediately, Knight E4. Is that
legal?
It's legal. It's legal. It's no, it's all right. It's all right. You're a bit worried about Rook F7 tricks and all that, but it looked fine. And White could choose to give up 2 rooks for Queen here. No, not even actually.
No,
because Bishop takes C4, I go Rook takes C4. You know, your Queen's hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if White goes Rook F4 here, I mean, I'm thinking the Black might even play F5 here. So
interesting.
And that might actually be quite well. White could go G4 if White wants to mix things up. Then G4 is possible. So it's quite dangerous there. Not quite sure what White should do there.
They're repeating. I think they're repeating.
No. This is my suggested move.
Okay.
So Bishop takes E4.
Oh, I was too slow. I could have guessed that one.
That is risky. Now I think Black is doing. Well, I like this very much for Black simply because the White King is very weak there. I think I've got some echo on your side, Natasha. I'm wondering whether that's because you're from time to time you're here. I mean, I'm being heard on your speaker slower somehow. I'm not sure. So Queen D2. Imogen offering a draw there.
Yeah. Now the clock times they've actually got a lot closer now.
Oh, this is rather thrilling actually, because I actually missed something completely, namely that White's threatening Queen takes H6 and the pawn on F7. Now, what you could do with Black is to play a move like Rook E3. Because after Rook takes F7 check, oh, they're taking a draw. Okay, I think that was an example of a very well-timed draw offer, because I think that if we'd gone Rook E3, then what is happening is that if Rook takes F7, we go Rook E2 check, You can't block with a rook, obviously, because well, I mean, you've got to keep on attacking the queen. And if I go King G1, there are a couple of ideas that I've got. I mean, firstly, simply Queen F7 is just winning because Queen E2, Rook E2. So I think that Rook E3 would have been would still have been very strong for Black here. Just a clear extra pawn, and you're probably playing a move like F5 on the next move, consolidating. So I think that was a very well-timed draw offer from White. Just at the crucial moment, you offer a couple of threats and then offer the draw. You know, I think that was very clever, practical play there. I think so.
Okay, now which game is this? This is Georgia against Olivia.
Yeah, so Olivia there has turned it around. So I think Black was much worse. But
now we really are in a technical rook ending. So is this a draw or a win?
This is a draw. Yeah, I mean you should play the rook back to G2 here. and that's just a total draw. So yeah, as long as you play rook g2 here, then there's not any worries. It's I mean, there's not actually any worries at all. I mean, you could even defend this position against the b pawn with a king on b1 and a rook on g1. That is possible as well. So yeah, I mean, this should just be a draw. It should just be a draw. We have.
Do we have Taran?
We have Taran. So let's move on.
Hello, Taran.
Hey, Natasha.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Are you playing in this tournament at all yourself, Taran?
Sorry?
Are you playing in the British?
No, I'm unfortunately not.
You too busy?
Yeah.
Yeah? But you're supporting your sister?
Well, not
I
really.
assume you're supporting your sister.
No, not really.
No?
No. Nowadays, I'm a bit neutral.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Big news.
So that was a tight old game, wasn't it? That was very, very thrilling, and I think your sister was a lot better, but somehow White managed to hold on.
Yeah, I saw till rook takes b2, and now I just saw that she just played knight e4. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Do I still have the game on there? Yes, I do actually. So yeah, after knight e4, I think this was a very clever positions on the board there. It was a very clever draw off there, because Black played this move queen d2, and White's attacking this pawn on here with these two rooks, and also attacking this pawn on here with the queen. So it was a sort of a double attack, and yeah, White offered a draw, and of course Trisha was quite short on time as well. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking for Black. So I can imagine that.
Here for Black, King G, something like that.
No, rook e3. That was the move that was best. So you block this.
Oh yeah, because that one is now possible.
And if you go rook f7, then actually there's quite a few ways that this is very good. But rook e2 check is the key idea. I think that was the key idea. And then actually I think Black is actually just winning in this position, because after king g1 we go queen takes f7, and obviously, well, we've taken a rook, and we're attacking this one as well. So no, I think it was a clever practical play from White there, but yeah, hard luck for Black, because that was a nasty draw to get just when it's getting tense and worrying there. But
yeah, I think Trisha was under serious time pressure for the last 20 moves. Can I say that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, you do get a 15-second increment, but yeah. I don't know. It doesn't feel very much when you're watching it. 15 seconds feels like an eternity, but when you're playing it, it's really it is quite difficult. So yeah, but a good start all the same. I mean, good to start there with a draw, not with a loss.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think overall the qualifiers have a better upper hand, because they have.
Yeah, they'll be sharp. They've been playing for the last couple of days.
Yeah, so yeah, I think they have a good upper hand about the format.
Are you playing much chess at the moment, Taran?
Not much. I think my last game was for NCL, like the online.
Oh, really? So you've not played so much online?
Yeah, I think I played a few blitz here and there, but not much. Oh yeah, actually, sorry, I played the European youth one. I mean the qualifier one.
Okay, that's the one that's just been happening recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did it go?
Oh, it was terrible. I think that was my first time playing under 18. Yeah, it was not what I expected.
How about Trisha? Did she play there as well?
Yeah, I think she did well. If I'm not wrong, she came 4th or 5th. I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, 10th. Yeah.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, well, thanks very much for having come on the show. That's really fantastic. Good to see the relatives of the people playing. That's really, really nice. And yeah, keep on watching, and also, well, good luck to Trisha for the rest of her games, and well, good luck for you in your games next time you play.
Yeah, you should play something like the Blitz or the Rapid, something like that.
Sure, if I can do it now, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot. Very good, Taran.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm being told that, oh, Maria had a very tense end to the game. And how did this end, actually? So this was, let's just go through. So there was a big, sort of breakthrough there. And Maria played knight into f7. Oh, that was very big. Rook attacking the pawn on g6, queen hanging, pawn on f5. And then rook f7 takes, rook e8, queen e2 check, and queen h3, and the queen came in, and looked like, well, this ended quite nicely afterwards. Knight e3. That's always good technique. Just swap off the pieces when you're ahead.
Yeah.
Black tried to avoid it, and queen g2 and queen e4. And f3. Ah, this is very solid. That's a very good move. Protecting the queen on e4. Excellent. And white won a few moves later. So that's a win, starting with a win for Photo Chess. A nicer start than in the qualifiers. So well played. And we've got one more game going.
So that was Georgia against Olivia.
Okay.
Okay, this king's being forced back.
Indeed, but this is still actually drawn. So this position is still drawn with the pawn on b3, because there's no way to actually force the king out of the corner. So as long as you don't panic, as long as you you just keep on moving the rook to g1 to f1, then you're absolutely fine. Natasha, I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm hearing. I think.
I know what you're getting now. I'm going to just go away from the computer for just a second. It's my daughter skipping in the kitchen.
Okay. No worries. So rook e1, yeah. So all that white has to do here is to keep on, just to leave the rook on the first rank and not get worried at all. And I'll show you why that's so important. So if we just play a rook to there, or here we could give a check as well here, for example, that would be fine too. But if we go rook there, and then you go rook check, I go king there, and you go rook there, and I just come back here. And you know, if black tries to go rook there, I can just come here. You go b2, threatening rook check there, and then rook check here. So yeah, I think I'm hearing a little bit of reverberation when you're at the when you're at the camera. I think that's what's happening. As if your speakers are later than as if people are hearing the sound through me and also through your speakers as well.
All right. We'll do a practice, and I'll maybe need to switch to headphones. Okay,
no worries. So rook g3 check, and that would actually be good. So just keep the rook on the back rank like this, and no worries. Always nerve-wracking doing this, but yeah, just nothing to be done really. Just wait and. So black trying to think of ways in which to trap white, you know, to try and tempt white to move the pieces somewhere else, but it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So there's really no way in which that can happen.
So this should just be a draw.
This should just be a draw indeed. So white should just play rook h1. And there's nothing that black can do here. I mean, white might as well keep on giving checks, and then the black king will come around to a3, and then we just go to the back rank again. Well worth knowing this ending, because it's you know, the pawn on b3 the B pawn is really a very special pawn for these endings. If the pawn was on C3, this sort of position, you couldn't do this sort of passive defense. But with a pawn on B3, it is possible. That, funnily enough, is in the 100 Endgames You Should Know book. That's one of the oh, I don't know about that. One of the positions in there. But I knew it, funnily enough. But I knew it, of course. But I'd never really thought about it at all. And it's just seeing those sort of things explained, very, very useful.
Okay, so that's the difference between if that were a B pawn and if it were a C pawn.
Exactly. If it was a C pawn, then you can't stay passive. Because a passive defense loses. Because black's got a bit more space around this side of the pawn to to chase away the white king. But here you can. This is, in a way, this is the easiest one to defend against the B pawn, because you really can't go wrong as long as you keep your rook on the back rank. So. So you'd expect
I think I would try and check and then move my rook across to the G file now.
So yeah, white can play lots of different moves. Actually, rook H8 would be very sensible, but rook G1 is just as sensible as well. Rook H8, you could keep on giving checks, because actually that will be a complete draw as well. But oh, is it biscuit time, Natasha?
Oh, it could be. Yeah, I have like a biscuit and a half left already, and they are chocolate hobnobs.
Oh, my favourites.
This has gone rather cold.
My favourites. It's and I discovered as well that my nephew Johannes has got an absolute biscuit mania. He said he's got 5 packets of biscuits in his room, and he's not telling anyone because they're all his.
Well, I'm keep buying extra biscuits because I think, well, we're all locked down, and keep everyone's spirits up. We'll have the biscuits. I buy those pots with the, I think, Yule logs. As soon as I've bought them, they've gone. It's really quick, and in fact, sometimes so quick I don't even get them myself. So now a secret, well, it's a secret drawer with all my extra biscuits in, but the kids have discovered it, and so even there they don't last long.
Kids are cunning that way. It's, there was my youngest nephew Philip. He was caught asking Alexa, what is mummy's password on her phone? Which was, I think, a beautiful attempt. That was really very.
What did Alexa say at that point?
It's always chocolate hobnob time. That's what Mark says. You're absolutely right. I mean, chocolate digestives are my particular mania. I have to say, I've eaten so many of them during lockdown. So.
I like. I actually now I'm getting back into Garibaldi's. I used to like them.
Oh yes,
the ones with the raisins in them.
Yeah, no, they're lovely. They are lovely, those ones. It's, and actually, there's always the good old-fashioned custard creams as well, which I can never get enough of those. Or jammy Dodgers.
Jammy Dodgers are good.
Oh God!
They're using the party rings, but they really are just sugar, so I've stopped buying those.
It's
iced
Vovos.
I don't know iced Vovos. They sound good. Are they like? Because we have these ones called iced gems, which are the like little tiny bits of biscuit and then just icing on the top, which are very nice. Chocolate anything is good.
Well, that is true. That is true. It's there was my mum always used to buy and it was quite evil of Marks and Spencer's because they had 2 for £5 or something, and there were these huge packs of chocolatey, extremely chocolatey biscuits. So it was Nigel shortbread biscuit. So,
a Nigel shortbread biscuit. Yes, very good. Oh, okay. Oh, we can do this.
There's nothing like a drawn rook and pawn ending to get the sensible stuff going. It's Nigel shortbread biscuit. There must be some more. Is there a none?
There are.
Nuns. There is a biscuit with nuns in them, isn't there? Trying to think. Or maybe it's a cake, actually, I'm thinking of. So the pawn on b3, there's, I mean, really white cannot... Of course, the great thing that we can look at here, pistachio and almond. Marks and Spencer's do, Mark.
Yeah, they're good.
Marks and Spencer's biscuits are the best. Well, the one thing that we could have here is that if black goes king b3, Natasha, oh yes, Natasha, spot it. White to play. White to play. Oh
no, white to play. You could go the rook, up to h3.
Yeah,
go for a stalemate.
Was possible, and you could just have hovered around like that forever. That would have been cool. But this is, of course, the way to do it. No need to be flashy. Endgame lore is full of people who did flashy little ways, found flashy ways to do stalemate, and then discovered to their horror that it wasn't stalemate. So we can still go up to move 125 with this one. So
okay, we've got a fair way to go then.
It's but I think
names then.
Rook g3. It's such a gorgeous little tactic, that one. But this is, of course, better. So what have we got? We've actually we had a lot of decisive results in this. In this
we do. We've got 7, I think, people on 1 out of 1.
So give us a rundown. Who's on 1 out of 1 then?
Grandmaster Ketevan Arakhamia Grant, International Master Dagne, Ciuskyte. We also have Maria Emelianova. We have Nina Pert and Zoe Varney, Alice Lampard, and Tashika Aurora. All have 1 out of 1. And then we've got Julie also got the bye, so she's on 1. So actually there's 8 people on 1.
Okay. Right, okay, there's going to be some exciting games in the next round as well. I mean, it's actually the top players, the contenders, they're all going to fight each other very early with this field like this.
Sure, yeah.
So white can now play rook h3 and keep the black king at bay now. On the 3rd rank, that would work as well.
It's easy now, right? You get rook on this row and
rook b3. Rook b3 was also even flashier there. Rook b3. So that would have worked as well. But rook g1 is absolutely great. Yeah, Mark says ice gems remind me of my grandma who died in 1979. Oh, that's yeah. I think you do have. I do associate some food with my grandmothers as well. Actually, my English grandmother, who she always made apple crumble. So that was something I always associate with her. And my French grandmother was a very good cook, actually, although I don't really associate food with her. I associate cheating at games with her, because she was incredible at cheating. She was the sort of lady who'd, while she was playing with her grandchildren, she'd throw the dice on the floor, and whilst you were scrambling to get it, she'd move her counter 5 or 6 places forward and then claim with a big grin on her face that she'd done absolutely nothing at all. She was a hell of a lady. It was...
Well, my grandparents are out in Australia, so I associate. We used to have mango for breakfast when we'd visit them.
Oh wow!
And my grandfather, they had a balcony, and my grandfather used to every morning get up early, do freshly squeezed orange juice, and then he'd get some meat and feed the kookaburras. So these kookaburras, that kind of laughing kookaburras, and then there's these sort of big white birds with the big long beaks, and they would come and eat off his hand. It was lovely.
Oh wow! Oh, incredible. It's yeah, somehow not such exotic stuff in England. Actually, I have a colleague who works and Yeah.
Did you throw me out?
No, this was Restream. This was Restream that that fell out. My internet did not fall out there. It was Restream. So we're back on.
And the game's still going.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. That's
It's a draw. It's a
draw. Yeah. I'm not sure whether my whether this time it was the software we're using, but maybe got fed up hearing about biscuits and decided to go and eat them itself. That was sorry about that. But anyway, the game has ended in a draw.
We had predicted the result of the game anyway,
Exactly.
and it has now ended in a draw.
Exactly. So so we have then 8 players on 1. So going to be an exciting thing. Basically, all the favorites. I think all the favorites, top 2 boards anyway, certainly all went as you'd expect. There was a good draw on board 3 for Imogen Dyson. I think one particularly noticeable game was Nina Pert, 12 years old, beating Lara Puta with black in a very exciting game. One that we certainly spend a lot of time analysing with some very interesting tactics. So, well, Mark, I don't know. I think it's I think the thing we've done quite a few videos now, and I think what you just noticed is that glitches do happen, and it's a bit hard to do anything about it. This is a fantastic bit of software because you can easily bring people onto the stream, which is a very nice feature. But this time it seems like it's actually a website that does it for you, and it just looks like that website just fell out for just 1 second. I still had internet at the time, but we're back. So anyway, thank you everyone for your patience today. Sorry about the glitches.
Thank you very much.
We'll try.
We're back on, aren't we? 6:50 today for the
Indeed.
first round of the Open, and our schedule tomorrow is what? It is the seniors, over 50s, over 65s, and major Open, under 1400, under 1700, and under 2000 in the afternoon, and then the finals of the Open in the evening.
Indeed. So and I'm very much looking forward to seeing Mark. No, Mark was joking. Okay, with the biscuits. Yes, of course. We need a biscuit loving streaming software. That's what Mark was saying.
Yeah.
So oh
no.
Very much.
We've got a lot of research to do, haven't we, in the next few hours?
Indeed.
All to do with biscuits.
Very much looking forward to seeing Michael Adams play. Always a pleasure to see him, and also good old Mark Hebden. Always good to see how he's playing. I haven't seen him for quite a while, since the lockdown actually, and always, of course, a fixture at any weekend, British weekend tournament or for NCL. Then you see him. So looking forward to seeing him play again. But thanks everyone for all your comments and all the interaction. Hope the glitches didn't spoil it too much, and hopefully see you tonight for the championship proper. A 92-year-old player once. It's absolutely possible. Gosh, musical Neptunian. It's amazing. I hope I'm still playing when I'm 92. That would be wonderful. Okay, thanks so much indeed.
Thanks very much. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.